we're looking at these pictures, we can see something is ablaze there on the ground as this very strange wave of mud and debris with boats included and cars and all sorts of things. It's when you see something like this, Ivan, unfold before your very eyes that you get an idea of there's nowhere to run when you have something like that coming so fast towards you. And of course, you know, it appears to be fairly slow when you're looking aerially, but if you're on the ground and that is moving at such a fast speed, you can see the boat there.
Just unbelievable pictures. There's a building or a couple of buildings that are on fire and are moving with the tsunami. That is just something you just never seen before, and there's a pretty big vessel there getting pushed to shore. The one good thing that I'm seeing here, there are homes now in the way, but generally, if you've noticed, Rosemary, this has been through farmland here. There's that fire that I've been talking about, a moving blaze along the tsunami. Just unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
If this accident stops right now, it will already be one of the 3 worst accidents we have ever had in a nuclear power plant in the history of nuclear power. The other 2, of course, are 3 Mile Island in 1971 and the Chernobyl disaster of 1986. There are 55 nuclear reactors in Japan. 1 out of every 6 nuclear reactors in the world is located in Japan. Japan is heavily invested in this technology. 11 of them went offline yesterday after the earthquake. 5 of them have had coolant problems. At this time yesterday, Japan had never declared a nuclear emergency before. Now they have declared 5 nuclear emergencies for each of these 5 nuclear reactors. The most serious one is the one we're looking at, reactor number 1 at the Daiichi facility. This is going to go down in history as one of the 3 greatest nuclear incidents if it stops now. If it continues, if they don't get control of this and we go from a partial meltdown of the core to a full meltdown, this will be a complete disaster. The release of cesium that you mentioned was the indication yesterday that we were starting to get a core meltdown. Cesium was detected in the venting, the steam that was vented yesterday to relieve the pressure inside the reactor.
And it's well above the levels that it should be.
Well, what it means, the only way cesium can get out there, and also radioactive iodine, is from the fuel rods themselves. So that told the operators that the fuel rods had been exposed, that the water level had dropped below the fuel rods, and the fuel rods were starting to burn, releasing cesium. So that's when people really started paying attention to this crisis.
So we know what the problem is. We've talked about that, but what can they actually do to contain it and to stop it? What should they be doing right now? We know they're working on it from our Stan Grant, who's been in touch with the people there. But what needs to happen right now?
Well, one thing they can do is better inform the public and the media about what's going on. We've been getting contradictory, partial information. They've been downplaying the threat, and yet events have evolved in a very grim and disturbing direction. As one of your guests just said, it's led to more suspicions about what's going on, may or may not be justified. So first thing, tell us more about what's actually happening at the plant. Number 2, they've already taken several emergency measures. We understand that they may be pumping seawater into the containment vessel to try to bring down the temperature of the reactor. They have to be working on making sure they get more power to back up. But the big unanswered question here is whether there's structural damage to this facility now. We saw the explosion early this morning. Are there other structural damages that may make a meltdown all but inevitable? I don't have any information from the power company on that. That's what we need. And if there is structural damage, we should be extending the evacuation zone much further than the 12-kilometer limit that has been declared.
Right. Certainly keeping people there on edge. We appreciate your time this morning.